Last year or last winter, I can't even remember when it was, I got a whole bunch of Roma tomatoes, flats and flats and flats. Over a couple month time period, I kept being given all these Roma tomatoes, and I peeled them all, blanched them and peeled them, and I froze them. I needed to get them in the freezer. I didn't have the ability to do anything else with them at the time. And I just took, there's 4 bags in here, and these 2 bags, these are gallon-sized bags, and I think there's at least 3 more bags in the freezer. I see that there's more bags in the freezer. And I've been needing to get these out of the freezer and free up space for a very long time. And so I've been thinking about what to do. I mean, I do occasionally have taken, when I've needed, like I was going to make soup or something, and I'll take a bunch out and, put them in the soup and break them up and stuff, but I just want to really process them. And so I've decided, after thinking about it for a very long time, I want to make some pasta sauce. I've been given cans of, diced tomatoes or tomato sauce, but I'm rarely given pasta sauce. And so I thought, I've never made pasta sauce before, but I thought what I would do is use my turkey roaster, and just, because it can handle a lot. And I'll just put all these tomatoes in there. I bought some Italian seasoning at the store today. That was my only choice. Or use the seasonings I have in my cupboard and just, mix and match. But I decided to go ahead and get a bottle of Italian spices. I got a couple lemons to help boost the acidity, because I have no idea how acid these may or may not be. And I want to be safe. I'll be doing a water bath canning, but step 1 is going to be getting all these tomatoes out of the bags, and hopefully there'll be room enough for the other 3 bags. I think there's 3. There could be even more. I don't know. I just know I saw 3 more. But I'm going to fill this up as best I can and put it on low to start simmering them, to start, first of all, I got to get them thawed, and then just simmer them and, get them ready to where they're processed enough. I'm going to have to blend them, break up all the, well, they're already peeled, so that's not going to be an issue, but to, get them smooth and broken up and everything, I'll have to blend them in batches or use the immersion blender. Probably blend them in batches. But I need to get this started, and so I wanted to do this morning. I had intended to do it to start this morning, and if I had taken these out this morning, they would have already been thawing out and I could have gotten them out of the bags, but I didn't think about it this morning. So I'm taking them out just now. Hopefully they'll start thawing out enough to where I can get them out of these bags. I may have to just cut open the bags and not reuse them, just to get them out and to start getting the ball rolling on this. But just taking this out of the freezer has really opened up 2 shelves, more space on 2 shelves, and I really, really need to clean out that freezer, get food out of there, process it if possible, or use it up, or, just something. So, I need to get busy. I hope there's enough light here. I've got every light possible on. It's almost 9 o'clock at night. I took all the tomatoes out of the freezer, the other bags. I got my canner out that can also be used for making big, huge batches of soup, and used that. And I just put everything on a low heat to thaw it out. And then I took my immersion blender, which now needs washing, and I started off with the tomatoes in here, and then I started to do, in little batches, and then what was in the stock pot in little batches, and I just slowly, it's a little chunky, but I blended it as best as I could using the immersion blender. And now I think, this is in my turkey roaster, and so I'm thinking I'll just, put the lid on. Well, I'm going to season. I'm going to find the recipe and find out. I think I should be seasoning it now. Right now, it's just tomatoes. There is nothing in this but tomatoes. I want to cook it down. I did buy some tomato paste because in a recipe or a video I saw, and she was making just tomato sauce, she added a couple cans of tomato paste. I just bought 1 can of tomato paste. So if necessary, I can add tomato paste. I'm just going to have this on low overnight and see how it is in the morning. What I need. How much tomatoes I got out of my freezer. It was really taking up a lot of room. I think I got them all. I can't find any more. And preheat it. So step 2 of the process is complete. Well, I have been cooking this since almost 24 hours since I took it out of the freezer. It cooked all night long. I had it on a low simmer, and this morning I've had it on a low simmer. Actually it's afternoon now, and I turned it off a bit ago. I added a can of tomato paste to try to thicken it up some, so I wouldn't have to keep reducing it. Because I honestly am getting tired of my house smelling like tomatoes. I want to put this in the canner. So I'm going to get some jars. I've already cleaned up 7-pint jars. And so I'm going to fill those up and get it in the canner and get the first batch going. Now, the actual recipe, the canning books say to run your tomatoes through a food mill or strain them somehow. I did not do that. I wanted a chunkier pasta sauce, and everything I saw was saying tomato sauce. It wasn't saying pasta sauce. And I just literally took the immersion blender and blended the whole thing through with the immersion blender. Now these were Roma tomatoes. I really didn't have seeds. I had already skinned them, so that wasn't an issue. But you could leave the skins on if you wanted to. Now, the recipes all say, bottled lemon juice for a pint-sized jar, use about a tablespoon, and then they list some herbs and stuff. When I asked in a canning group, they mentioned, I can't think of, it's a classic brand of mixes to add to make your pickles or spaghetti sauce or whatever. Well, none of that brand is not accessible to me locally. I have to drive over an hour away. So what I decided to do was just to get an Italian seasoning. And so in each jar, I added the approximate amount of herbs that they were saying. They were saying about they were saying, 2.5 teaspoons. I added not that much, but then, so of the Italian blend, and I added salt, and then I threw in some onion powder that I had. I did find a recipe that had you, adding actual onions. I had asked one of the groups that or YouTube channels I like to watch is Part-Time Permies, and that's Mike and Cindy. And Mike is a professional culinary trained chef. He's worked in a lot of, you know, nice restaurants and stuff, upscale places. And he knows a lot. And he says not to use bottled lemon juice, but actual real lemon, fresh lemon juice. And I forget what he exactly said. It makes it a brighter flavor, sweeter. I don't remember, but he said it tastes much better. And so I got a bunch of lemons. And I've already squeezed one lemon. And so in each jar, for a pint, they were saying, the recipes all say 1 tablespoon. So I measured out a tablespoon per pint. And from what I've read, it doesn't matter if you're water bath canning, which is what I'm going to do, or you're pressure canning, you still need to up the acid. The problem with tomatoes is you never know, even though it's an acid food, you never know if there's enough acid in those particular tomatoes to be high enough. So the lemon juice, or you can add citric acid, but it just ups it. It makes it more likely to be safe. So once I did that, I've come over here and I've started ladling. Now, what I've read is 1/2 inch headspace. I'm giving a little bit more than that because I've had issues in the past of whatever I'm canning overflowing. So I just decided to give it a little extra space. And so I've started ladling. Here's my funnel that I use for ladling, and I've started ladling these, and I've got, was it 8 jars? I forget how many pints will fit in my canner, and I'm going to get that going. You got to make sure that, it's covered with water, and you do the right amount of time for your area. Read the books, join on Facebook canning groups, or, get the ball canner. I happen to be well over 2,000 feet in elevation. So I have to do a little longer than those who live under 2,000 elevation. So if you're canning, you need to know what your elevation is, and you need to know what you're doing. It's easy to do. You just got to be careful and know what you're doing. And so I'm going to get this going, and then I'll get it in the canner. Okay, this is the last batch. It's the 3rd batch I've done. And I'm tired, so I'm glad to be almost done. I have, this water is hot, so I can't really, I guess I can use this. 4 quarts of pasta sauce. These 2 right here, and you notice I'm reusing the lids. They've got writing on them. That's because this is water. So if it doesn't seal, it won't be the end of the world. But if it does seal, I've got water for an emergency. When, the power goes out, I have no electricity, which means my well is on electricity, so I have no water. And yeah, it's not the greatest water, it will taste stale and stuff, but there's things you can do to help, and hey, any water is better than none, and it fills up the space so that the jars don't rattle around and stuff. Well, I didn't have enough pasta sauce to fill another quart, and I don't have any more pints left, but it filled up this jar that somebody gave me. I have no earthly idea what size that is, but somebody gave that jar to me, and it filled it up perfectly, so I'm going to use it. So I'm going to put the lid on this now. I need to add some water so that it covers it. From the last boiling, it reduced a little, so I will be adding more water. But I'm going to turn on the stove now and get this going. Quarts need 40 minutes. Pints was 35 minutes boiling. I'm going to do the 40 minutes no matter what. So, turning on the stove and going to get it up to boiling. It's kind of dark in here, but this is what I've canned today. I got all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jar pints, and 7 quarts is what can fit in that canner, and that's what I've already accomplished. And then I'll have the 4.5 quarts over here. So my freezer is empty, or emptier. It has less stuff in it, and I've got all this sauce to use and cook my future recipes, and I don't have to go to the store and buy it now.